Hi everybody, what's going on? I have some more content for you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the craziest parties and or partiers of history. Because of recent, there's been more parties going on and people are celebrating, so I figured, well, there's got to be like a history book or something we can look back and think, wow, that was huge and out of control. So I thought, why not Google, why not learn? So I found one that was thrown in ancient Iraq. The Iraqi king, this king reigned from 884 to 858 BCE, as as shown as Serapal II. He, in 879 BCE, at the completion of his new city of Kalu, which was attended by 70,000 people who were all fed and given treasures. He then served 10,000 measures of beer. Now, a measure of beer back then, it would have taken one measure of beer would have been enough for about 6 people. So 10,000 measures of beer and 1,000 oxen for everybody. For everybody. And they all just got absolutely fucking romped and thought it was a great idea to, because they were near the Nile, obviously. They thought it was a great idea to go wrestle crocodiles, and a few of them died, but as you do when you're sloshed. But I just thought that was pretty crazy. They had 70,000 people going fucking apeshit. And then the next one I found to be quite compelling was Truman Capote's Black and White Ball in New York City in November 28th of 1966. It was hosted by an author, Truman Capote. Truman Capote wrote In Cold Blood, which blew up in the 60s. And then he threw a ball for the Washington Post publisher, Kathleen Graham. And then he hired Frank Sinatra with Gloria Vanderbilt and other celebrities to attend and show up. But then that stumbled me across Frank Sinatra. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know much about Frank Sinatra, but I can tell you a few things about Frank Sinatra, okay? Frank Sinatra was one of the craziest guys in Hollywood. He was a singer. You would know him from Come Fly With Me. He has a lot of really big hits that are very old, 60s. Once again, he's from the 60s, but he was completely out of control, off the Richter. He was good friends with Elvis Presley, but also, if you go onto Google and look at Frank Sinatra and the 10 craziest things he's done, you'll get a new 10 every time you scroll down. He once went to Vegas, and got absolutely tanked and lost 500 G's in one sitting. He lost $500,000 fucking dollars in the 60s. Compared that to today, that is fucking crazy. That's probably 500 million back then. So in 1976, his gambling debt ran up to 500,000 at Sands one night, so at the Sands Casino. While being sloshed, he then confiscated a golf cart and drove straight through an entire. He drove straight through a fucking glass door, the glass smashing into pieces. It didn't end there. He tried to light up the curtains with the Zappo lighter, but it didn't work. So he tried to burn down the place. He had numerous orgies in casinos where he was. So Sinatra became part of a swing band in Vegas consisting of Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Joe Bishop, and Peter Lawford, known as the Rat Pack, a very famous 60s group. They coined the phrase referring to the Hollywood drinking circle, with her then husband and future fling Sinatra were present, and a hard partying group led by none other than Sinatra. So they went in, hosted an after-hours orgies in the casino, health club's steam room, and the band were hired hookers and invited the showgirls. In his 2000 memoir, My Way, Paula Anka recalled that Sinatra's one rule was no gangbangs. That was his one rule, but he hired tons of women. Dope. He starred in a porn movie. He had a connection to the mafia. He couldn't stand rock and roll, even though he was friends with Elvis Presley. He got sick of performing his popular numbers. His battles with oppressive and compulsive disorder. He hated his own album, Strangers in the Night. He had a violent side. The JFK connection. But the reason why I was bringing up Frank Sinatra is because he was completely off the chain. But in the 60s, guys like him who had the mafia connections, they were the ones who made the money. And there's too much evidence to suggest that those kind of guys who were running amok through the 60s and having a lot of crazy encounters, like John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy was the president of the United States who was famously assassinated, but he had quite a history before him. He was a known swimmer. He was a very smart man, but he also had numerous parties at the White House, numerous different people, different women come into the Oval Office. He had numerous ventures with illicit substances, and he got away with it all because he was the president. And there was one that stood out pretty significantly. He was with Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe, very famous actress. Let's just double check that. No, but there's a JFK story that is really crazy. Where, because he's the president of the United States and he's already pretty mad. Happy Birthday, Mr. President was a song sung by actress and singer Marilyn Monroe on May 19th, 1962 for President John F. Kennedy at the gala held in Madison Square Garden for his 45th birthday, 10 days before the actual date on May 29th. So she sang him a song, and they did so many more things together. But there's so many stories you can look at through that decade, even to the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But you just want to party hard, let it rip, get into it. Bert Kreischer, for those of you who don't know, Bert Kreischer is a very infamous comedian, very famous man. He's very famous for the mafia story. This video was just about hard partiers, and he's one of the kings in our modern world who's still repping that persona. He even got into the Russian mob because of it, and robbed a train with his classmates, or against his classmates with the Russian mob because of it. So, on that note, what that means is when you're celebrating, celebrate hard. Try and get in the history books, up your game. And so I just thought I'd share that with you. More importantly, and that's all. And I'll see you on the next one.